Hello, class. I got a good number of emails, a few emails from people asking about the histogram activity on RStudio. So I thought maybe I create a video that kind of go through steps on how we can create histogram on RStudio and how we can take a snapshot and use it as reference. So as we read the instruction, we have the data. So the first thing would be we need to get the data into RStudio. So I assume you already went right here, you log in, you open RStudio.cloud. So let's upload the age data. So I click on the actor's data. So if I click, it's gonna bring it up and we're gonna download it. The sound you hear on the background is my daughter Diana. So she gets excited with math sometimes, so you might hear her on the background. All right, so I downloaded the data. So I go, so if you look down, the data is here. So I need to locate where my data is. So if I right click, it says showing the folder, and I see the data is in my download folder. All right. So once I download the data into my computer, now I can upload it to RStudio. So I go to RStudio.cloud. Again, assume it's the first time I'm using RStudio, so I'm gonna log in. And you have options. You can log in using Google, so you don't have to sign up. So I want to log in with Google. Yes, love, exactly. Yep, that's something we have to download it to RStudio so we can create a histogram. All right, so I'm gonna use my so I want the organizational one. Exactly. I agree with you. Let me go here, the spring 2020. So that's the space for our class. So I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call this new project depends on how busy the server can be. Sometimes creating a new project might take a little bit of time. Okay, perfect. So once it pop up, I want to save, I want to make sure I keep track of all the commands. So I go to File, New File, RScript. So it open a window where I can keep track of all the command I use. All right. So I downloaded the data from Canvas to my computer. Now I need to get the data into RStudio. Because this is RStudio.cloud, we need to upload it into cloud first, and then from the cloud we import it into RStudio. So we'll see, we go to file here at the bottom, we go to upload. I want to choose the file, and I remember I put it in my download. So if you have Mac, it goes to your it goes in your file folder, I believe. So I have the actor, so I click on it. Then it says okay. So what it just did, you see the actor here, we just downloaded the file from my computer into cloud. Now in the cloud, I can import that particular data set into RStudio. So I import, it says what kind of, says the first time I'm using this on this machine, so I want to install a package that let me download files from cloud into RStudio.cloud. So it's gonna run it for a few seconds. So it's installing a package that I can download the Excel file, and then RStudio can treat that Excel file as a data to work with. So now we can browse it. So which one do you want? We want the actor. So click. It says data review. We look. That's the right one we have. All right, I see the view. That's the correct one. So we want to create a histogram. So if we go here, there's direction on how you can create a histogram, how you can adjust a histogram with the bin width. So either one, it has the instructions. So you click on it, you open it up, and it has the instruction right here. So first, it tells you how you can create a regular histogram, the default histogram, the file name. So to do that, I go to our cloud. So I'm just going to type HIS. So automatically RStudio Cloud give you options. It says which one of these commands would you like. So we want hist. It says where is the data. So the data is in this data set actor. So I type actor, A-C-T. It says, is this the data set you're looking for? Yes. Now, data set, if we click on this one, we get an error message because hist is looking for set of data, not a data set. So in order to get the data, we go back to that command. We put a $sign. It says which one of the variable, there's only one age. And now what it does, hist takes all the age data, not the data set, the data itself, and create a histogram. So that's our histogram. So let's say you have this and you want to save this as an image. So one thing you can do is you go here, and it's easier to copy this to clipboard. So if you click here, it says, is this the image you want? You say yes. So if you right click, you see where it says copy image or save image as. You can save the image into your computer. So let's say I want to save it into my pictures, and I create a folder so I know where things are, Math 103, and I say histogram 1, and then save the histogram into my computer. The second part of this activity, I want you to create a second histogram where you change the bin width. So instead of the default one that we had, so instead of having like 1, 2, 3, 5, we want to have more bins. We want to go a little bit smaller. Instead of 30 to 40, we want to go, for instance, from 30 to 35. So as you can see in the instruction, there are two different ways we can create multiple class intervals. We can define the breakpoint ourselves, or we can find the minimum and maximum of the data and then tell it to create 5 breaks, as you see in number 3. I'm going to use number 2. Because I want to define the class interval ourselves. So we go hist, let me actually save the data, so I go type hist. It says what is the data, so we have it in actor, then age, and I want to define the breaks ourselves. So if I type in break, it says, do you want to define the breaks? Yes, and I want to define the numbers. So you see here it says from 30 to 80. I'm going to break it down. Let's say I want to start from 20 to 25 to 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and then we'll go a little bit more, 85. So it has all the data because you see here it's go from 30 to 80. So we know that already the data it is. In the guidelines, it says do the plot equal to true. Plot equal to true, basically you're telling the R, I want you to create the histogram. Because if you change the plot to false, what R does, it doesn't give you a graph. It gives you the description on how, the description on a frequency distribution, and it doesn't give you the plot. So for instance, here, we wanted to create a plot. So the default is that the plot is true. For instance, so what we have, we just run it. We get a new histogram with different class intervals. So the example I did for your file, I chose 25, but I changed it in this video. So you see there are many different ways you can get this histogram. Let me save this also. So I go to export, copy to clipboard. I right click here, save image as. And I saved that one in my pictures. So it was pictures, Math 103, and this is my second histogram. Histogram 2. I saved it. So now if I go to my pictures, I have all Math 103 videos. Sorry, the images. This is my first histogram. Come on. And you have the second one. So now you can follow the instruction on how to embed it in your Canvas discussion. I really hope this video helps. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. All right.